Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And welcome into Life Planning 101 on this Tuesday morning after the bank holiday yesterday and President's Day observed. And we have Angela Robinson with us. And
yes, great Tuesday morning after President's Day, which my son goes, "What's that?" So 6 years old, needed an education right off the a little history lesson. But you know, we have a great show lined out today, and I'm feeling a little Joel Osteen this morning-ish that I should start the day out with a joke, noting the topic here. But so I want to tell you about this bartender. He was the strongest guy around in this bar, and he had this ongoing competition about being able to get one more drop of lemon juice out of a lemon after he'd squeezed it. And so he put up $1,000 for this, and this had went on for months, and there'd been all kinds of people that thought they were strong enough to do it, from bodybuilders to lumberjacks to anybody that used their hands, and nobody could get one more drop of lemon juice out of a lemon after he had squeezed it. So one day, there's this little scrawny man that came in the front door, and he said, "I want to try." And of course, the whole bar goes to roaring and saying, "All right, well, let's see what you got," right? And he goes up there, and he was able to get 6 drops out of that lemon. And of course, there was dead silence across the bar, looking at the size of this guy and, you know, his big old glasses, and thinking, the guy's never been to a gym. What the heck is going on? So the bartender, when he picked his jaw off the ground, he finally said to him, he said, I just got to know, how do you have so much strength? What do you do? Are you a lumberjack? Are you, bodybuilder? What do you do? And he says, "I work for the IRS." Right? So on that note, guess what we're going to be talking about today?
Taxes?
Taxes. You got it. You got it, right? So I figure, hey, we hadn't done this in about 4 weeks. Yeah. So we might as well jump back in that boat.
But it's changed since then.
That's right.
We've learned some things in the last 4 weeks.
This is right. And, this is the time of year everybody's got it on their brain and their mind. And I want to use that. I'm going to tell you, I'm abusing your thoughts right now, because I want you to be thinking about taxes and thinking about what you can do. And I've got a Twitter poll that really is in line with the title of our whole show today. And it asks this: has your preparer told you there is nothing more you can do to lower your tax bill? Has your preparer told you there is nothing more that you can do to lower your tax bill? Tweet us at KFS Life Planning. We want to know. My bet is yes. Right? So the question goes, how many times have you been told, well, too bad, you're just making too much money. There's nothing more you can do unless you just want to go buy something.
Right.
And how many times do we go buy something just not to pay taxes, and then a year later we're like, why did we buy that? Why did we do
or
that?
A day later.
Or a day later.
Buyer's remorse.
Right. Or they just tell you, too bad, there's nothing else you can do about paying taxes. I mean, you're already maxing out your retirement plan. You're already, we've already rearranged your tax return. We've changed entities. This is it. You just made too much money. You have to pay your taxes. And we've heard this. We've all heard this. And the common thing that we get, and I feel like I asked a CPA one time. I said, I just got to know. I got to know why do CPAs not like us? What do they not like about us? And he said, well, you make us look bad. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, because if we aren't figuring it out for our clients, then we were supposed to figure it out for our clients. Right. But really, don't blame your CPA for that. I want you to retrain your brain on what your tax preparer and your CPA is really supposed to do. They're not advanced tax planners. That's not what they do. How come we think they are? They're the first person we ask, how do I lower my tax bill, right? And they're really good. I like to call a CPA or your preparer what you call a tax defender. Okay, because what they've done is they probably have told you need to restructure things, perhaps. Maybe they've told you that you need a new accounting method. Changing things up could move your taxes around, and you've probably seen some good things happen out of that, maybe 1 year out of 5 years or whatnot. They're probably the first person that told you to start putting money back in your retirement plan. Kudos to them for doing that, right? And he may even go as far as helping you find somebody to set that retirement plan up. And then on top of everything else, they're taking everything that you do and they're making sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted so that if that audit comes, they're ready to help you defend where you stand on your taxes and make sure that you're not doing anything out of whack, right? They do a lot of tax maneuvering with what information that you give them. But if you don't give that information to them, how do they know, right?
So like the old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
They can't manufacture stuff if you don't give it to them.
Exactly. And how many times do you actually sit down with your CPA for a planning conversation? Not just a review. Not just to talk about how we're going to maneuver things, but actually go through your current situation, your future and goals, your family dynamics, your feelings about risk and what you are willing to do or not willing to do about your taxes, and go through all of that with them and then show them everything that you got going on in your life. How many people do it?
Not very many.
They don't, right?
And a lot of people don't want to do it.
And a lot of people don't want to do it. It's a lot of work to do it. One of the most common things that we get as a life planning firm is when people first on board with us, we try to do it in bite-sized pieces because there's so much to what we do because we're very holistic in nature. I mean, we're looking at 8 life planning issues, right? We're looking at everything from family support to taxes.
Right.
Okay, so everything in between, and that's a lot. So taking that bite-sized piece one at a time, sometimes it takes us 2 years to get through all the planning for a client. Think about that. Okay, but we do it in a way that we're trying not to make it cumbersome on that client.
Because people quit.
They do. They will quit. They'll give up, and that's the worst thing that you could possibly do, right? So you're asking your CPA to go through a 2-year process with you in order to be your advanced tax planner. And by the way, do they verse themselves in advanced tax planning? No, they don't. Does your attorney? Maybe, maybe not. Does your insurance agent? Maybe, maybe not. Does your advisor? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes you have to add a whole new person to your team altogether. And I'll be real honest, I don't find many people out there that do advanced tax planning. And the reason they don't is because of that cumbersome trail that it takes to get. But I will say this, that the majority of people that come to work with us as a family, their priority is, guess what?
Taxes.
The taxes, right? And isn't it a beautiful thing? Because we can use those taxes to pay for all the other planning that needs to be done. Isn't that great?
Right.
So, there's so much to that, but we put so much pressure on our CPAs just to say, this is all I'm doing. And I, my husband, he's always the one that's making calls with people and talking to people that don't know about us. And they're saying, well, my CPA tells me that I'm doing everything I can to lower my tax bill. I guarantee this is 9 times out of 10 conversation, right? And we say, well, what if we could just show you one thing, 2 things, right?
Right.
And I've yet to see something that we can't show somebody 1 thing or 2 things. So that's what we're going to do right here on the show today. I've actually got some real life stories of how we've turned, crumbs into a whole cake of tax planning.
All right, it's coming up right here on KATX KWBY. Segment 2, Life Planning 101. We're talking taxes.
That's right. And the guy that said there is no truth that never hurts never filed a 1040, right? So we all know taxes hurt. And that's exactly what this show is about today, is when there's nothing more that you can do about your taxes, or so your accountant is telling you, What else can you do? And, we always position ourselves as a compliment to your accountant and your CPA. We want to work with them. We want to work with your tax attorney. And the reason why is because we do a lot of advanced planning. We get very in depth, and we want to make sure that our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. We're doing very legal tax planning ideas and nothing under the table. But more times than not, there's a lot more that you can do with your tax planning. So I want to share with you some stories, some success stories that kind of we've had over the past, and some plans that we built. And the first couple come from some business owners. The first of which was a gentleman that he came to us, and he never went to college. And he said, my whole deal is I wanted my kids to go to college, and I paid for 2 of the 3 to go to college. And then my grandchildren, I'm paying for their college, and I want to figure out how to do it, what's the best way to do it. And for most grandparents, they realize when they go to do this that very little to none of it is tax deductible. Well, those are some big bills coming out, right? So we said, all right, well, give us the ages of your kids or your grandkids, and let's talk through this. And the more we talked through it, the more we were able to discover that there was a way to make 100% of their college tuition tax deductible.
Really?
100% of their college tuition tax deductible. Think about that for a business owner. That is huge. Yeah. Well, he was so excited because the IRS is basically paying for half of their college tuition, right? So when you think there's nothing else that can be done, think again, right? Similarly, I want you to imagine that, you could have your kids be in a position that you could pay them, but not only you pay them, Uncle Sam pays them. And what do I mean by this? We had a gentleman that came to us. This has been, 3 years ago maybe. And so we put out this plan for him, and he was nearing retirement. He was actually going to transfer the business down to his kids after he retired, and they were trying to figure out the best way to do that. Well, the best way to do it was probably to get cash out of the business. But the problem is that every time they took $1 out of the business, Uncle Sam took 40% of it, and that wasn't efficient at all. So we had to come up with a plan that we could actually use that 40% as part of the buyout. Because think about it. If Uncle Sam could help buy out the business, would that make everything more feasible?
Sure.
Absolutely, right? So, or more palatable. So we actually did that. We took a plan. He had 2 of the kids in his business, and he has a third son that was not. And so what we did was we designed it so that the 2 kids could take over the business, but the third son wouldn't be disinherited as well. And they had the lifestyle that they wanted to have. Business owners, I've found this over the years. It doesn't matter if it's family business or if it's a, business that you have no family involved. There's 2 things that they don't want to lose. Number 1, control.
Right.
And number 2, their income.
Yeah.
their lifestyle.
That income that they've become accustomed to.
This is exactly right. And a lot of business owners fear ever quitting, ever stopping work because of one of those 2 things. And this was him. So when we started looking at different designs, I could see this look on his face, and I thought, oh goodness, he's something's wrong here. And I said, okay, let's just stop. Let's just stop for a second. Tell me what's on your mind. What are you worried about? And he said, guess what?
Losing control. Maintaining my lifestyle.
And maintaining my lifestyle. I said, okay, so let's look at this from a different angle. What if we did this? What if we gave you all of the voting stock in the company, but the kids own the majority of the stock, but yet you still control it, okay? And at the same time, what if we got as much cash out of the business between now and in 5 years as we possibly can to be able to support your lifestyle? And he said, well, I can't hardly do that. I maybe can put back $100,000 a year. I can't put back more than that. So, all right, well, what if we let the kids pay you? Well, how do the kids pay us? Okay, well, let's use Uncle Sam's dollars. And that's exactly what we did. We turned that $100,000 into $200,000 a year, was able to pull it out of the business every single year for 5 years. You can add up that money.
$1 million.
Okay, there's $1 million that we pulled out of the business, right? He still maintained control and received his income as a consultant for the business for the next 10 years. Made him
Perfect.
pretty happy, right?
Yeah.
Because that $1 million, guess what? Grew to 2 million, to 4 million, right?
Right.
And that's what happens. So pretty amazing. But if it weren't for the help of Uncle Sam, never would have happened.
Right.
You know, a lot of times we think the impossible is just that, impossible, and there's nothing we can do about
So
it.
maybe you don't always need to fear.
Yeah, that's right.
Taxes.
That's right. And why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we worry so much about something and we never ask for help? Especially business owners. I'm just curious. I mean, the truth is business owners, you got to have so much respect for them. I mean, I go to coaching groups with entrepreneurs. I sit in rooms with billionaires, and it doesn't matter billionaire, or it doesn't matter if you're making $200,000 a year as a business owner. We're all the same. We have this mindset of the fact that I am good. And I got this. No one needs to tell me what to do. I got this, right? If we didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit, how would you be a business owner, right?
You got to be a risk taker.
Yes, you got to be a risk taker. But at the same time, can't you have someone help you calculate the risks and figure out the best way to be able to do it? I always say the President of the United States' job is not to know everything. The President of the United States' job is to be able to be a very good decision maker and bring the
surround
experts in to be able to help them make those decisions, right? So think about you as that entrepreneur. Shouldn't you be the same way? Surround yourself with the experts that you need to help you be the most successful you can be, right?
Perfect.
Totally different way to think about it. When we come back, more stories you're not going to want to miss on maybe there's more that you thought you could do to not pay taxes.
Final segment, Life Planning 101 here on this Tuesday morning. Angela has some more tax stories.
Yes, and when there's nothing you can do about your taxes and just you feel like it's all, I got to pay them, you might want to think again. And that's the stories we're talking about. And I'm never going to get through all of these today. I'm just saying, I have so many. You know, one of my favorite stories to talk about, and I think my favorite story to talk about is because they're the first one to stand up in the middle of the room and say, yeah, and we haven't paid taxes for 10 years. And they're retired. And they literally, their income is over $200,000 a year of what they're taking home to themselves. And their taxes have stayed below the 10% bracket the entire time, right? Not impressive, right? So yes, bragging on ourselves a little bit, but the truth is it can be done. And think if those taxes had been 10% higher, for them that's $20,000 a year. $20,000 a year over 10 years is how much money? $1 million, right? So it's definitely worth thinking. Or was that $1 million? Yeah, no, 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
20,000.
No, $100,000.
Yes.
So no, 200,000. I'll get there. It's early. But yes, it's very important to think about, what that could actually mean for your retirement. Just a little tax planning. A lot of people talk about converting to a Roth IRA, right? Your IRA is taxable when you take it out. Your Roth IRA grows tax-free. And more importantly, it may grow tax-free for your kids. Well, how about if you were able to convert it and not pay taxes when you converted it? Okay. This time of year, starting here in about, I don't know, what do we got? 10 days. I'm going to be going through our entire client list and looking at these opportunities because we have a tool that we use to help us be able to not convert it that is only open for about 4 months out of the year. And we do all of this planning to figure out how much can we convert without paying Uncle Sam a penny. And we work on it on our whole client list.
Wow.
So it is a powerful, powerful tool. We do it every single year. And we're converting in excess of $5 million a year tax-free. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
That is awesome, right? So don't think it can't be done. Just ask, right? On that note, one of my other favorite things is to be able to, it is my favorite thing when we do estate planning. I love the taxes. I love helping people get their legacy in order. If you can't tell when I do the shows, I just get overly passionate about helping people just bring all that legacy and that energy that they have that they're so proud of and they should be proud of, and putting it down and helping their kids get it right. And a large part of that is the taxes, because the taxes, again, help pay for everything. We had a family come to us that had inherited a farm, and they said, when Mom died, we paid so much in taxes. We never want to pay taxes on this place again, ever. When we go to sell it, we don't want to pay taxes on it. When we die, we don't want to pay taxes on it. We don't want to pay taxes. This was their adamant. When we gave them options, at the end of the day, you could pay this much tax or do this. We aren't paying taxes. That was the legitimacy of this conversation, right? And they were going to pay taxes. The tax bill was going to be over $2 million just for selling the property, right? Much less the estate planning. So guess what we built? A zero tax plan. A zero tax plan, both on the capital gains and on estate taxes. A lot of people say, hey, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy, Terry. A lot of people say,
is it legal?
It was totally legal. It is totally legal. And we actually propose zero estate tax plans every time we do an estate. And it doesn't matter how big that estate is. This is a misnomer. People listening to the show may be saying, well, my estate's too big, I can't do that. No matter what estate plan we do, we always propose a zero estate tax plan, just to let people know that, hey, you can do it. You may not want to do it. You may want to choose a different path, but you can do it, right? And then on top of that, imagine that you could set up something that your children would never pay tax again.
That would be awesome.
It'd be awesome. We did that for one family where 3 generations would go without paying tax on an asset in the size of $4 million. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
Right? 3 generations of no tax on that. So you think about the power behind that.
Surprised that Uncle Sam even likes you guys.
He doesn't. He doesn't, for sure. Especially if you knew about us down here in Eastland, Texas, right? So that's, again, why we like those tax defenders, those CPAs,
That's
and we
right.
work with them, right? So they're the ones that have to like us. That's the important part. But, the thing is when when you have success, the tax man is going to come at you from every angle. And oftentimes we're using that 6-man football team. Right? That's all we've got. But really what you're needing, and I'm a Cowboys fan here, so you need the 1994 Dallas Cowboys offensive line, right? To help you keep what you've worked so hard to earn. Don't think that you can't do it. People say, well, I can't do it because of the cost. What if Uncle Sam's going to pay for it? He often does. Every time in our book he has. And the time. People say the time. Time is money. If you haven't figured that out, you need to stop and think about your thinking a little bit, right? So don't wait another minute this year. Let us help you plan, because every month you let go by in 2019 is a missed opportunity, and you're going to pay more in taxes if you don't start planning right now. Let us help you at Kennedy Financial Services, our advanced tax planning team. It's like candy to us. We love it. So with that, God bless everyone. Have a great week. My name is Angela Robinson, right here on Life Planning 101. Make sure to join us every week.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.